Today, we'll be taking a look at what just happened with Jeff Hardy, Liv Morgan's response to the mixed reactions towards her Raw promo, a Sami Zayn theory, and much more. Let's start things off with this Jeff Hardy situation and the report that came out involving him over the weekend. Jeff Hardy was just drafted to SmackDown and has been getting used a lot more frequently than he was earlier in the year. Remember that there was one point where WWE had Jeff Hardy chasing the 24/7 title. That moment right there alone spoke volumes that they really had nothing for him to do. But after the massive backlash that moment got from the fans, Hardy was taken off of the 24/7 title picture and put on a much better path. He had a short feud with Austin Theory, a couple of big wins on SmackDown, nearly won the Battle Royal, and is currently in the middle of a feud with Happy Corbin. Not only that, but outside of the ring, Hardy has been immensely teasing Willow's debut and a feud with Roman Reigns for the Universal title. So big things are definitely still on the horizon for Jeff Hardy. But there was recently an incident at a recent WWE live event that went viral and made headlines everywhere. Hardy was taking part in a massive 3-on-3 main event against Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. Fans in attendance noticed that something seemed very off with Jeff Hardy, and even the fan-recorded footage from the event just shows Hardy being a bit sluggish and just not his usual self. It really didn't go unnoticed, and fans caught on to it almost immediately. Jeff Hardy tagged out of the match by tagging Drew McIntyre, and fans in attendance claim that Hardy was escorted to the back. Jeff's team would end up picking up the win over the Bloodline, but Jeff didn't even come back out for the post-match celebration. So the concerns continue to grow. It was then reported by PW Insider that WWE sent Jeff Hardy home from the road. Sean Ross of Fightful claimed that his sources described it as a rough night for Jeff Hardy. So of course, this is never any fun to hear about or even discuss. It's unknown how long they sent him home for. Maybe they just excused him for the events over the weekend, maybe for the rest of the week. That part seems a bit unknown at this current moment. We do know that Jeff Hardy is scheduled for a match on SmackDown on December 10th, so that'll be a good indicator to see if he'll be back on the road with WWE by then. But hopefully everything turns out well for Jeff Hardy. All the fans are definitely hoping that it does. Liv Morgan's promo from her contract signing with Becky Lynch have been in the headlines a lot lately because of the now controversial mention of why other Riot Squad members were released. Some people liked the line and intensity from Liv Morgan, while others thought the line was uncalled for. That has been the real debate over the last few weeks. Well, Liv Morgan is now addressing the controversy herself. Liv recently appeared on the Out of Character podcast and explained her promo. She had this to say, quote, "Was it hard for me to say what I said? No, because Becky has brought up my friends. She brought up my friends not being here. And after my segment, I got texted from my friends saying how proud they were and how amazing they thought it was. So I don't think there were any hard feelings. I know I'm kind of addressing something that may feel like an elephant in the room or maybe taboo. But these are things that are happening, and I don't think I said anything wrong." End quote. So Liv put up a strong response there for the crowd that said the line was uncalled for. She said that both Ruby and Sarah reached out to her and absolutely loved it. So there were no hard feelings there about their release being mentioned in the story. And Liv also nailed it with her response. Mention of real-life WWE releases on television does feel a bit weird. It does feel taboo, like she said. But if the people she was actually referring to were okay with it, then that should put an end to the big debate. WWE did edit out that line from highlights and replays, but Liv is sticking to her word and believes that she didn't do anything wrong. Brock Lesnar vs. Roman Reigns will be taking place at Day 1, and like we've been talking about, everyone expects to see another false finish. But they already used the Usos, Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns cheating back at Crown Jewel. So, knowing that they already used all those cards, what can happen at Day 1? Well, wrestling legend and current AEW star Mark Henry shared his own theory during an edition of the Busted Open radio show. We love to go over theories, so let's see what Mark Henry had to say. Here was his idea for the story, quote, "Maybe the revenge factor is in. You're talking about turning the business on its ear with all the stuff that's going on. Imagine the Sami parade. If he pulled a rug from under and there was some underlying deal with Paul Heyman, that would get him a title shot." End quote. So, a pretty great idea from Henry. Sami obviously was scammed and tricked out of his world title match. He wasn't prepared and was forced into the match at short notice. Even though Sami is a heel and we're not supposed to really back that character up, it's still pretty wrong what happened to him. So Mark Henry is saying that if Sami approaches Roman or Heyman off screen and offers his services to help Roman retain against Brock in return for another fair Universal title match. Honestly, seems like a great idea that Roman should definitely accept. He gets some more unexpected outside help with Brock Lesnar, and all he has to do is give Sami Zayn another title match. Roman obviously likes his chances against Sami Zayn, so it'll be a win-win situation for him. It also sets up the perfect revenge factor like Mark Henry was talking about. Sami gets his revenge on Brock Lesnar by costing him the Day 1 title match. Maybe that loss gets Brock Lesnar out of Roman's hair for a bit, as Brock would go to the back of the line of contenders for Roman's title. Roman awards Sami Zayn everything he promised him for the help, while Brock Lesnar goes back to plotting about how he can get his hands on Roman Reigns again. Considering all this would be going down in mid to late January, it makes sense that Brock's backup plan to get back to Roman would be to win the Royal Rumble match. Roman takes care of business against Sami Zayn and other contenders that may pop up in early 2022. Brock wins the Royal Rumble, and all that sets them back on track to meet each other at WrestleMania 38. Now, some fans aren't really too big on the idea of older talent winning the Royal Rumble, so maybe the majority of fans won't be sold on the idea of Brock winning it. But at least right now, it definitely seems like Roman versus Brock will be the main event of WrestleMania. So, Royal Rumble win or not, it does look like that match is happening at WrestleMania either way. But what are your thoughts on all of today's stories with Jeff Hardy, Liv Morgan, and Mark Henry's theory for Sami Zayn? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.